everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Kat.
I'm Iz,
and we're the Shee Sisters.
Today we're at Centurion Golf Club with Seb from Seb on Golf.
Welcome to the club, ladies. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Absolute pleasure.
It's a beautiful course.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
beautiful day.
Yeah.
It's always like this in England. It's always sunny, it's always beautiful.
Yeah, I think we brought the sunshine from California. So I'm sure it's gonna start raining as soon as we leave.
You guys have been here for a couple of weeks. The second you leave, it's going to just be miserable.
Pouring.
I know.
So we met at the Condor a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago and it was so much fun. We did a vlog together and
Yes.
your short game was really on point.
Every dog has his day.
So today I thought it'd be kind of cool if we did a couple like chipping tutorials, like what works with you.
Sure.
Give us some tips.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll try. I just really love short game. Like, I just find it so fun. Like this short game area they've got here at Centurion, I would sometimes prefer to just come here with one of the other members and just do like fun challenges instead of playing golf. Like I just really enjoy it. So I think that if you like something, you tend to practice it more, don't you?
Totally.
Yep.
Like I'm the type of person that usually my ball striking is quite nice.
Yeah, it
but
is.
on the days that it's not, I'm like praying that
Everything
I get
is going.
like 50% up and down. So like I really want to change that.
Yep.
So you can have like, you know, more consistent scores. But yeah.
I honestly think that for anyone who's getting into golf, if you were treating it like, right, how do I actually get the most amount from the time I've got, I think short game is the way. I really do. I think course management, and I think if you get better, like you said, if you can get 50% up and down, that's going to make a huge difference to your score. If you think about people shooting 80, 90, how many of those shots are like within 50 yards of the hole? Like way more than, well,
Like
way
10.
more than half, right? Like,
Totally.
Huge amount. So
Yeah.
definitely, if you can get some fun short game challenges that you enjoy doing, challenge yourself. That's what maybe we could do today.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you have to. So you're going to be kind to me here, right? If I mess this up, you're going to let me have a do-over.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I can talk a good game, but doing it is sometimes another thing, but we'll try. Okay. I'm the same as you. I hate these shots. They're tricky, right? They're really tricky. I'm a big subscriber to the hinge and hold technique. Do you know about that?
Phil Mickelson?
Phil Mickelson hinge and hold.
Okay.
I really subscribe to this, and I tell a lot of people that if they do ask me what's the go-to thing for your short game, because it's one technique you can apply to like loads of different shots, and you can use the same technique for multiple situations. So, you know, for anyone that doesn't know, the hinge and hold effectively is where you get the ball towards the back of your stance, you put your hand slightly forward and you create this hinge. So whatever angle that might be, I don't know how many degrees that is, and the technique is then you simply retain that angle. So what I mean by that is instead of what some people do is they come back, the angle's gone there, then it's opening and it's like gone from at one point it's that to one point it's all the way there. That's really difficult, and you have to time it so your club is square to target, open to target, open to target, open to target, square to target, square to target, it's closed. That's so much to worry about.
That's kind of what I do, yeah.
It's like, basically, there's a really good analogy that I think for that, and because I've got a few friends who are like beginner golfers, and I tell them about this, like, oh no, but I can do it, and I say, yes you can. It's the same way if I gave you a stopwatch and I say stop this on exactly 10 seconds, your angle for error is 9.9 to 1.1. A lot of the time you'll do it, but sometimes you won't, because it's timing, right? Sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. But if you have a better technique and your room for error is between 8.5 seconds and 11.5, you're going to do that every single time, right? So it's the same thing. You're worrying about timing your hit. That if you take all of that out of it and keep the club face square and don't have a lot of moving parts, I think it just simplifies it massively. So for the hinge and hold, you basically have your weight forward. So another way I practice it is I actually practice it with just a little bit of weight on my right toe, and I feel like I can do it like that, and then in real life I put my foot down but I feel the same amount of weight on my left hand side, and then it's simply a case of weight forward, keeping the angle and just rocking the shoulders like a putt. And the thing is, there's so little to go wrong. There's so like there's just not a lot you're doing in your body. It's a very simple movement. You can't really screw it up too much. And then the different amount of club and the different amount of back you go, the different pendulum, just the different shots, right? So this one particularly, this is a really tricky shot. Uphill, tight lie, it's just difficult. The two ways I visualize this is I nip one up to land probably halfway between the green and the pin, check a bit and then roll up to the hole, but that's high risk. So the other way of doing it is you play way less loft and you just punch in. Like you said, your initial reaction is to play this one high.
High.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because there's not that much green to work with.
Yeah.
So I probably would take a 60 and try to land it just in front and
Yeah.
then have it check up.
So that's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll try that one first, right? So I've got a 58 degree. So again, I'm going to weight forward, my hinge and hold. And I'm going to just try and pop it to land on the green and then roll out. Right, try that again. So weight forward and just nip it. And the difficult thing there is that was pretty good, right? But it's not. It's going quite low. You play that one high. I just don't see this one as a high shot personally.
Really?
Like, you think about the way you play it high. Like, how would you play it high? What would you do?
Well, what I would do before the hinge and hold is I would keep it a bit open, and I would basically try to do that kind of like that flippy one where you try to use the bounce
Yeah.
to kind of nip it.
Well,
but
where do you land it if you go low?
So if I go low, for me, if I'm playing in a tournament, I'd play this low all the time. Like, if you want to show off and you're playing match play and you want to have some fun,
Yeah.
I'd play the nippy one or the hinge and hold. But to play this low, I would literally just land it just short of the green.
Short of the green.
Just let it run up, sort of thing, like just like that. Like, I just don't really see how that's going to go too far wrong.
Like a
it's-
bump and run.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like when you've got, obviously, if we were in the rough, you can't really do that, but because in this particular situation, I feel like it's the same technique. Hands forward, just sort of pop it.
Yeah.
Like so, I've hit that.
Oh wow.
Like really no thought, anything, and
Right.
the worst it is what, 5 foot?
Yeah. So would you say that that's also a hinge and hold with what you're?
I think so. So
Okay.
the way I do that is, again, that's the beauty of the hinge and hold for me, is that you're doing exactly the same technique. You've just got a different amount of loft. So it's again weight at the back of my foot, and I just think about holding the angle, and I think about my left hand being in front of the ball. So not like, you know, the back behind here. Just keep it in that position and just rock it. And it's just like, I don't really see how this can go. Like, how that's probably about as bad as you could do, right? Just caught it a little bit heavy. But with one of those flop shots or like a big one,
Oh, you could be
you
like
could
at that
chunk
tree.
it here, you could play it through the back. Like, there's so much to do to go wrong there.
Yes.
Whereas this one, you know, it's just like the worst you can do is sort of, that was actually really bad. The worst you can do is like up there somewhere.
I see.
So yeah, do you want to have a few?
Okay. Yeah.
Get some balls.
So you would never, in like, let's say you're competing, you just wouldn't use a higher loft at like 60 degree.
When it's this tight, like if I really try and flip one now, like especially when you get some bare lies,
Yeah.
you could be like 96 out of 100 skill shot,
Yeah.
and it's gonna
And
come
still
up
skull it.
like easily, right? You can get a really good swing on it and get a terrible outcome. Whereas with that punch and run one, you can do a really average swing. Like you can mess up quite a bit and still get a decent attempt. So like the one up there, like I just think so much to go wrong here. I can come in early and fad it. I can come in early and scull it. I can, you know, I mean, I'll try and nip one. So I can have a weight forward. I sort of do hinge and hold
There's people
again.
behind there.
Like that, like I've done that
Oh,
okay.
wow.
That's not bad. But I was anxious over that shot.
right.
Like, I was feeling like I don't want to do this. Like, this is horrible. What can go wrong? And I'm thinking about this again. I think golf is massively. I'm not a pro, right? Like I've had some successes, but in the amateur game. But I think you need to like manage your mindset a lot. And I think if you keep doing things that you're not comfortable with, it's very unlikely you're going to keep getting good results. So, and the secret is to be consistent, right? So if you think about, like, I used to have this terrible tendency where I'd be in places like this and I'd want to hit like the good shot to be good, but really it's just dumb. It's just dumb, like playing to my ego. Like, don't do that. So way more recently I've started, like, sometimes, maybe not here, but sometimes putting from off here, just because it's just the percentage thing to do. It's just going to get you better scores. It may not be the most fun thing in the world, but I think having good scores is fun. So if you can do stuff to make yourself score better. So yeah, hinge and hold is massive. And the thing about the hinge and hold is that we could take it in the rough there, we could take it back further, we could go up close, we could try and nip one, and you can use pretty much the same technique. And all you can do is change the club you've got. So you can do it with a 9-iron, a wedge, all your degree wedge, all your degree 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60. Do the same swing and get a different outcome. So if you learn like hinge and hold there to there, you do that shot with 5 different clubs, you've got 5 different opportunities, or 5 different weapons in your bag. So it's one technique to learn, and it's really simple, I think.
Okay.
Hinge and hold.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love to try that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get the ball. Well, let's see, what are you going to go for here? What club have you got?
So
This would be a good experiment. Let's get 3 clubs.
3 clubs. Okay.
So what club is that?
I have a 60-degree wedge.
Okay, so I reckon get a 60, and what's your next 2 down?
I have a 54.
54.
And then I didn't bring it.
Okay, so if I give you like a pitching wedge.
Oh,
Here.
Oh, I have a pitching wedge.
You have a pitching wedge, okay, great. Oh yeah, 10. Nice, oh cool, I've never seen that before. So I reckon we do 2 balls with, I'll get that ball, one of these balls back. How can we do 2 balls with each club, but using the same technique, and seeing how the outcome's different for you. So what have you got first? Do you want to use your 60 first? That's what you traditionally use, right?
I probably would.
Right, let's use your 60. So for this one, what you're trying to do, you're going to try and land it on the green, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try with the hinge and hold.
Okay, cool.
So
Just wait forward.
Wait forward.
Hold that hinge, so like, yeah, so that's just a feeling, just to get the feeling of it. So you've got a nice little hinge there, so you're just going to come into the back of the ball.
That.
Yeah.
Is that a hinge and hold?
Try again. So what you're doing there, you're sort of hinging, and then you're releasing the hinge.
Right.
That's a real exaggeration of what you did. You sort of did that, but you see how the hinge is broken. So the hinge and hold would be this, just stays the same. So all the way through, see the difference, the angle between here and my arm is the same. So you almost like feel like you're keeping your arm forward.
So then would you say that for hinge and holds you don't use the bounce?
You could still use the bounce, so you could set the bounce. So you could set it in, for example, and then hinge and hold like that, still using the bounce, still scooping it. And I think you want to have a little bit of that, but you've just got to try bit of trial and error, you know, try different things.
Did I break it there?
Try again, so show me again. A little bit, but not too bad. I think you can break it a bit. It's more of a feeling, right? You've got to feel like you're just holding, almost feel like, you know, if you were playing one hand, you're just going to hold that through. You're not going to release with one hand, 'cause it's really difficult. Oh, nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, that felt really good. It's so funny because I've always thought, like, when it comes to a wedge shot, like 100 yards or even like 150 yards for a regular iron, I was like, I always feel confident like making contact with the ball, but then for some reason when it gets to like 30 yards, you're like, oh, like I hope I make contact, which is so weird because it's a smaller swing.
I agree. I think it's because you've got less time to marry everything up. Like you're only doing a short swing, and you've got less time to like, well, basically square the club face up. So you just take that all out of the equation. And you just, if you look at how little a movement this is, like how little a movement is my body. My body's just not moving a lot, right? Whereas this
Should be so easy.
there's like so many things that are going on.
Definitely.
So much to go wrong. You know, you want to build a simple machine to hit this golf shot.
Exactly.
So I think you can even be quieter with your wrist.
Really?
Maybe as an experiment, increase the angle a bit. So move your hands forward and just really feel that gap, and just don't let that gap change. Yeah, that's nice. There's just very little that can really go wrong, and then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to figure out how the different clubs, get that feel for how big a, you know, if you just think about your shoulders, how big a rock, like is it just to there, is it to there, you know, or somewhere in between, and the different clubs.
Right.
So you've hit 2 with the your 60 there, right? So when we try the 54, it's going to be lower, because I think if you say you're struggling and you're playing it high, I think where you can going on the ground is going to help.
Wait forward.
Wait forward, get that hold, and just
forward.
Yeah, just feel like you're locked in position, just rocking your shoulders through. Shouldn't be any real hit with your hand. You're sort of hitting this with your shoulders. You got your left shoulders going back, your left shoulders going through, like Big Ben pendulum. Yeah, and then you got to just get the feel for that distance.
It's pretty solid.
It's really solid.
It's just not a lot to go wrong, right?
Right.
You've got to get the feel. It's not an overnight. Oh, now. But what should happen is it should start giving you confidence. You're going to make good contact. You're going to build confidence, and over time, you're going to start feeling comfortable, and then you're going to start getting really aggressive with these shots and start feeling like I could make some of these.
It's so funny because I just always feel like the reason why I haven't been able to have a good feel with my short game is because I'm always focusing on actually just trying to get solid contact.
Yeah, that's the thing. So this is it, right? So there's something that I think is massive in sport, across all sports, and it's a mindset shift. So I try and do a lot of this myself. So there's 2 mindsets. There's the need to avoid failure, and there's the need to achieve. And when you're doing that, you're thinking about avoiding failure. So you're focusing on what you don't want to do, which is just, you can't be good at doing that. Like, it's just scary, it's not enjoyable, don't think it gets good results. You want to focus on needing to achieve. So for example, it's the old adage, there's OB left, don't hit it left, right? You're thinking don't hit it left instead of hit it right. Hit it right is what you should be thinking of. And then one trick I do that is a good example of how I use that is on putts. If I've hit a terrible approach shot and I've hit a bad chip shot and I've got like 15 feet for par, sometimes in your mind you think, well, I'm not going to make this 15-foot putt. So you think, well, this is a bogey, and you're worried about, I've got to make this or it's a bogey, I've got to make it or it's a bogey. What I do in my mind is I walk up to the hole and I go, I've made a bogey, that was a terrible shot, Seb, you've made a bogey, but you know what this is now? It's a birdie putt to get it back. So I walk up to the putt that is effectively a putt to save par, but I consider it a birdie putt, and I'm thinking I'm going to make it and get my shot back. So if I'm, say, 3 over, I go, right, I'm 4 over, this is a birdie putt to get back to 3. And that makes me think about achieving something.
About making
not,
it.
Don't miss. Just changes your mind. And I think this is the same with this. It's like if you get confident, you're thinking, right, hit this close, hit it nice, instead of thinking, don't scull it, don't fud it. So you've got to just make it simple.
Yeah,
There's plenty of room for all that, you know, hokey pokey.
Yeah.
Plenty of time for all that, but in the right place, you know.
Yeah. But you want to be cute and impressive.
When you've got no choice, right? Like, this is not that difficult. If we go down to that runoff area or somewhere short-sided, you've got to take the high risk on. Do you watch any Olympic diving?
No.
Do you know what that is though?
Yeah.
The diving?
Yeah.
So you know, like
pencil dive?
Yeah, so like when they do the dive, well, that would be a really easy one, right? So in the diving, how it works is before you dive, you select the type of dive you're going to do, or like in gymnastics, right? So you pick a routine, and you pick a certain level of routine that's got a level of difficulty. And if you take a really difficult routine and get it right, you get mega points, because the harder the routine, the higher the multiplier is. Or you can take a really easy one, like a pencil dive, nail it and get an okay score. So this is like just playing a simple shot, kind of. Get some scores on it, instead of going for the Hail Mary, going for the flop shot, you know.
They could easily get like a triple.
You could get it and you look unbelievable, or you could you know, belly flop and look silly.
Exactly. I like that, okay. So
good analogy.
This one, just on your left
hinge and hold.
side.
On your left side, hinge and hold, left shoulder back, left shoulder through.
Pendulum.
Set, pop. There we go. Just so little to go wrong. Oh, that's unlike hit the ball. That was going to nestle up nicely.
Yeah, I like that, because I didn't even hit that solid, and it was.
You're always presenting a massive part of club at the ball, so there's a lot to hit it with. So like, if you be off on the toe, off on the heel, you're going to get it there. You're just not, you know. You just got to get the feeling, really.
So I hit 2 balls already.
Do you want to try this? What have we got here? That's the 60. So you want to try 10 wedge, yeah?
A pitching wedge.
Yeah.
So would you ever open your club face?
Yeah, so that's the beauty of it, is that you can then, with this technique, you can use different clubs. So for example, if we had, if we couldn't chip this in, if we had a bunker here, you could just use way more loft, fly it higher, it's going to roll less. Or when we've got the run, you could do this with a 7-iron if you wanted to, and it's all the one technique. Different amount of loft. Thank you.
It's like putting?
Yeah, exactly. Different amount of loft, different amount. It's basically a putting stroke with different amount of loft and different length of stroke. It is actually a good way of looking at it, as a stroke, not a hit. Right. Because I noticed you've got a bit of hit. Yeah. So you've got a little bit at the ball on these short shots. You're hitting a bit. So this is something that will allow you to not do that hit, because the hit is again, you're relying on a lot of skill, and you've obviously got a lot of skill, so you can do it, but you have to keep having a lot of skill very regularly, and only takes a tiny drop off in skill to get a really bad result. Whereas without the hit, you don't need a lot of skill. Like, for example, I'll do a test, right? If you put your club down, right? Just put your club down, ready? Right, so I didn't tell you what was going to happen there. I just threw a ball to you. That's all the skill you need to hit this shot, right? If you want to hit the shot you're hitting, catch both. What? It's difficult, right? It's hard. But you could do it. If we did it 4 times, you'd do it eventually. But the other one, it's a simple movement.
I like that. It's really like fitting that you said that, because a lot of what I've been trying to do lately is, I always think, well, like, for a putting stroke, you never think about chunking it. Never. But then for some reason with a chip, I sometimes think about chunking it. So that really works if I just think of it more like a stroke. Yeah. I think so. And here's the other thing that's really cool. It won't work on this ground,
But when I once had a really bad case of the chunks, like it was.
I used to have the yips actually.
It was infected. Right? I couldn't.
The Y word, sorry.
It's just awful, right? And one coach that I had, if I just get like any club with a bit of loft on it, it won't work here because it's so firm. But normally in England it's not that firm, right? He basically gave me this drill, which was intentionally to chunk it. So basically he said, what I want you to do is to think about hitting the ground this far before the ball. And I was like, well, I'm just going to chunk it. He's like, well, let's see. So we put the ball there, and he's like, right, I want you to think about chunking it. And how amazing that is to like liberate you, to not worry about chunking it. It's like, 'cause you're trying to do it. But if you do it, and you do it properly,
do it anyway.
You basically play for the bounce. I mean, I'm going to test it now, it might look silly, but I'm going to try and like hit the ground that early, right?
Wow.
If you really try and chunk it, and trust the bounce, it doesn't. Because you end up trying to do not chunk it, we try and like nip it, right? And then it's like a lot of blade into the grass. Really, try that. Like, try your hardest to chunk it. It's honestly really difficult if you really try and chunk it, and that was like, I'm like, it's gone. And then it was just a case of, right, now you've got to figure out the difference in distances. So, all that there's that one. There's then you got to just get the different feels and distances, and I'm just going to try and chunk it. And it just nips so nice, and it's nipping so nice now.
Why? I don't understand.
So I'm coming up short. So if I add a bit more to it, look, and look, all of a sudden I now feel over this like I'm absolutely Superman.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Are you still doing the hinge and hold?
Yeah, hinge and hold. I'm just trying to chunk it. But I'll go and get the balls. Try that. Let's try that as an experiment.
Okay.
Try and chunk it.
So with the hinge and hold.
Let's not do that to now. Let's just focus on this as one thing. We can maybe combine that. Just try your best and like hit the ground here, but think about hitting it with the bottom of the club, so like you're hitting like into the ground. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just don't think like if you chunk it, you've succeeded.
Yeah.
So you're trying to chunk this ball.
Oh, that was really nice.
Right, and
Wow.
It's basically gone in. And it's the thing about this, it's not actually anything to do with the technique.
Yeah.
It's like
the
just
feeling of it?
feeling of just all of a sudden you're now like, right, how far behind the ball do I want to hit it?
Yeah. Ooh. That's so weird.
So weird.
I don't understand why.
So weird, because basically you're using the bounce properly.
Yeah.
You're really hitting the ground into it, because you've got genuinely good technique. The ball is going through it. It does.
Mentality a little bit.
Yeah, and it's the mentality. It's just completely freeing you up of any like negative thought, really.
Totally.
But there is, like, I've got a video on my channel about this little putting drill that I do. That I've used it. Like, if I ever have a big event, I use it every time before I play. And it's the silliest thing in the world. I get a tee, and I do 20 1-foot putts at the tee, right? And if you do that on the putting green, people think, oh, he must be the worst short putter ever. But I'm not doing it to practice. What I'm doing it is for my mind to see the ball doing exactly what I want it to do just before I go and play. So my brain just sees perfect putt, perfect putt, perfect putt, perfect putt. Sees target, target. Only see, I might have hit a few of them bad, but it's such a short putt, I'll never find out.
Right.
Because it wouldn't have got bad yet. I just see that, and then you walk on the tee, and you're like, I'm going to make everything. Yeah, it's like just mental. Like, I'm not a pro golfer. I'm just trying to find ways to hack my brain to make me play better.
Totally. So we're going to link that video in the description box below. That's very interesting. I think honestly, especially being an amateur golfer, any tiny feeling helps.
Definitely.
Which is super cool.
But you've also got to try loads of things, because some of the things, like, I might have a weird brain where like that chunk thing works and someone else it might not, right? It worked for you, and you've got to try these things and find it works, because like this is not a textbook. There's probably golf coaches watching this going, what's this idiot talking about? But all I know is that, like, you know, I'm the current club champion here. I've got a bit of credibility. I can shoot good scores, like, please believe me. But I'm a 3 handicapper, right? So I have terrible rounds in the 80s like everyone else does. Just things I've found that have helped me.
Yeah, totally. That's honestly what we believe in as well, because we've taken lessons from so many coaches, so many just people, and then not everything works, and then not everything that we do is going to work for anyone watching as well. But if you pick up one thing, like, that's pretty much good enough.
There'll be someone out there that will just,
like, whoa!
Yeah, and it's like a game changer, right? It can be great.
Okay. Awesome.
Cool.
Thanks, Seb.
No worries.
All right.
Do you ever use like a hybrid?
I haven't done. I have done a few times, but I don't do it a lot, to be honest. I sort of, for whatever reason, I think a lot of people do chip and runs with like lower irons, like 7s, 8s, 9s. For whatever reason, I don't know. I've done
seen
it.
someone use it, but I've never really.
You've got to try it and see if it works for you. I think. Yeah. Should we get some of these balls? Playing it for the hinge and hold.
Okay.
You just keep that so
straight.
Yeah. So if you go back to where you landed it and just feel the gap here, right, and then swing through the club. So where you've hit. Now is that there? That's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay.
You've kept the hinge.
Okay. So just basically move your shoulders then.
Exactly. Get your weight forward. And just rock your shoulders through, keeping the arms all locked in. So you haven't got to worry about them. Now they're locked in. You've never got to worry about them again. They're in position for the whole time. You've got nothing more to do with your arms. They're already where they need to be.
What about the ball position?
I like it towards the back, but you've got to just feel what feels natural. Does it feel nice at the back for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that then. That was perfect. You're just now going to get the feel for that amount of loft, how much you've got to swing it. Got to swing it a bit more, that's it.
Nice.
Nothing harder, nothing faster, just more.
I just never thought that I could do like bump and run on like a short-sided flag.
Shot, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only reason you can here is because it's quite nicely mown grass, right?
Right.
Like if it was like different to that, then you couldn't, but
yeah.
I mean,
but even like before today, I would still probably have like try to land it on the green and like land it soft.
It's more fun. But I mean, I reckon if we all did it now, we all had 3 balls for the way that way and then the way that, and see which 3 are closer. I'd be amazed if it wasn't the low ones. Look at that. That's lovely. That's just nipping it. So what I would say for you there is that to play the shot you just played, what club loft is that?
60.
So I would do exactly the same thing with the 54.
Oh.
So you haven't got to change anything now. Exactly the same tempo, exactly the same swing, exactly the same setup.
And with just a
different club. And it's just going to go a bit lower and run a bit more. And it's just you do exactly the same thing. So there's potential. You could even go to a 52 with it.
Right.
But like, so let's try it. Let's use the experiment, right? So what's that one? That's the 54. So the next one will be the 10, would it?
Yeah.
So just do exactly the same thing. My estimation is the gap between a 54 and a 50, which is 48 degrees, is probably going to go a bit long, but do exactly the same thing. Yeah, it's going to go a bit long, right?
Yeah.
So for you, for this club, this distance is probably a 52.
Right.
And you just do the same thing, it'd be bang on.
I feel like that would be really good, like calibration.
Yeah.
Like if you just like measured it.
How nice to not only have to learn one thing.
Yeah.
And have all these, so you've with that one technique you just practiced, you could use that on a short side with the 60.
Right.
You could use it from further back there with the pitcher wedge. You could use it up there with the. It's just one thing.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So can we actually do something that's like a really basic chip? But maybe like even here.
Like here, yeah?
Yeah.
The only thing about here is like here you're in the territory you could putt. But you probably wouldn't from here, but you could putt that, right?
Like these ones, weirdly, I'll never admit it, but they freak me out a bit still.
Right, so this one is 100% the low one. 100% the low one. Like, you're like a bit of a sicko to try anything different. Like you've got to be like just a little bit deranged. There's no benefit other than the fact it looks cool. But yet, if I'm honest, the shot I want to play is I want to put it on my back foot. I want to hit it, and I want to check it up. Like, I want to play that shot, right?
Right.
And yeah, it can work out nicely, but it can go so wrong so easily. It's all personal preference. So with this one, I've got to like weight forward. I'm going to like nip it. It's okay, like it's worked out nicely, but I had some anxiety over that shot. Like, I wasn't completely comfortable, whereas I go to like a gap wedge, a 50 degree, and I just feel like it's the easiest thing in the world. I'm just gonna literally just do that. And like, it's a terrible shot, but it's pretty much the same outcome. And then if you get good at that and you nail that in, and I've not had any thought about where am I doing this technique. I've just stood up and just flicked at it because it's easy.
But could you do that exact same technique with the 60?
Yes, but again, it's slightly higher risk because so you get it's just higher risk because like you're bringing in the bounce and I mean you could just in fact no, I see what you mean. If you do just that same thing with a 60. So let's think about it. What will happen is you just come up a bit short. So because of the 60, to play exactly the way I just played that, you've got to swing quite a lot. So if I just played that like this, right? So I had such a small movement. So I could do that because I've got less loft, it will roll more. If I do the same movement with this club, it just won't get there. You know, it's just not going to get there.
Right.
So if I then want to use this club with the same technique, I've got to go bigger. I've got to go, which can happen, it's fine, I can do that, but there's more to go wrong.
Got it.
So there's no need. Like, why do you want to, if you put the ball up in the air, the bounce is going to impact more. So if the greens are great like they are here, then fine. But if you've got a little mark on the green, it's coming in, you run a lot of the pros say, get the ball on the ground as soon as you can.
Yeah.
So with this shot, you can just, like, I can get the ball on the ground before the green if I want to. Like, just get it on the ground, running at the hole. And like, again, I've chunked that a bit. It's like 2 foot tapping.
So you believe in taking as little a swing as possible?
I believe in removing margin for error. So whether that's, you know, I don't hit it very far, right? So on par 5s, I'm quite used to just playing with 3-shotters, because if I try and get it past the bunkers to try and get on in 2, like, I've still got to hit a great shot, risk the bunkers. The second shot, I've got to risk it. Whereas if I just hit it short of the bunker in play, I know that from 120 yards in, I'm going to hit it inside 20 feet most times. If I do 10, 20 foot putts, I'm going to make 5 of them. And if I do the opposite, yeah, I might make a few eagles, but I'm going to probably make doubles and triples, so my average will be lower. So I just remove risk. It's so boring. It's so boring and dull.
Conservative.
Yeah, I just think
it works.
I'm not. I like being. If I don't like playing golf that way. I don't like playing that way as much. It's not as fun. I want to just play match play and we'll go out and I'll just take everything on. Like, I like doing that. But if I want to win, then
if you're playing stroke play,
then that's what you do, right?
Yeah.
Like, so for example, when they had the club championship here, there's golfers that are +4s, +5s. They grew this rough up to like here, and I just took nothing on. I just accepted shooting like 5 over, 6 over 2 days. I didn't lose a single golf ball. And there's some players who were like taking all these shots on, and they just like playing great golf, lose a few balls, doubles, triples. I just snuck in the door, like the tortoise and the hare. And yeah, I just did. I just scraped over the line.
funny. And then so you won because you just stayed out of
I just took all the trouble out of play, and I didn't play very good. I just didn't play very bad.
Right.
And like that was
so awesome.
I mean, it's not, if you play in other tournaments, it's not going to work, right? Like really good golfers, they're just good enough. But here, there wasn't anyone that week that could do it. Like, it was a very.
But I don't think anyone watching is like a professional golfer.
No. Well,
so.
maybe,
but that could actually apply for professional as well.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, if you think that's how they play as well, right? If they're playing 72 holes, yeah, they don't want a double or a triple. The problem is with them, they're so good that if they hit it, you know, okay, they can make these putts and they can still shoot like a low score. Yeah. But yeah. I'm just afraid of the big numbers. Yeah. Big numbers are the killer.
Yeah, you need like 3 or 4 birdies to get them back.
Here's another one, like just talking about conservative and things, is that sometimes if you've like, what I think, if you've got a shot and you can take on a risk to get there, in match play, sure, whatever. But if you take on a harder shot and you're playing badly and you start, right, I want to attack now because I want to get this back. What you do is you take on harder shots, make it more likely you fail more, and then you get less confident and everything else is harder. Whereas if you're playing badly, if you just start playing really safe, you play easier shots, you get more confident, all of a sudden you start playing good. And then you can take on the harder shots. You just gotta...
It's like reversed.
Yeah.
That's such a good mentality to have. I think a lot of people are the complete opposite.
That, honestly, I'm not very good at golf. I just overthink things. I just like think my way around the golf course. Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool.
Bev, we brought some socks for you.
Oh wow! Thank you so much. Oh, my favourite colour as well. Oh, amazing! Look at that.
Yeah. So
Thank you very much.
Eco-friendly and they're odor resistant, made out of coffee and recycled plastic.
Perfect, thank you so much. I love that.
Hope you enjoyed
It feels so comfy. Stay grounded.
Yeah, we'll give you a lot more next time.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm very grateful.
We had a very limited suitcase. So.
They're perfect size, perfect weight, perfect colour. Yeah, love it.
So if you want to keep them like nicer, you could wash them inside out and they last.
Oh, really? Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, that was great. So thank you so much for all your tips. It's
super helpful.
Yeah, it's really insightful, like for mindset as well as just technique and taking all the risks.
We're gonna try it out on the course today.
Nice. Well, enjoy. Yeah. What was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. No, look, absolute pleasure. I talk a good game. I can't always do it, but I think don't do as I do, just do as I say.
I like that. Same for us as well. And don't forget to subscribe to Seb on Golf. We're gonna link it in the description box below. Also on Instagram as well. We're gonna link it. And yeah, it's been such a pleasure. And we will definitely come back soon to visit you and whenever you're in the States. Yeah, that'd be great. Over.
We did a video on my channel, didn't we? We did like you two and Sarah versus me. So I don't know when this will go out, but that might be out. That was a good game. Out the Condor. So another rematch soon.
Yeah, all right, another rematch. So
cool. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a video.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.